Alright guys, so this is my first, you probably say, proper video on my YouTube channel. This video is going to be all about trap tunnels for you guys. Hopefully in this video I'll be able to teach you guys how to make proper trap tunnels. The three major things are block offs, damage, and recycling. I say that throughout the video. Hopefully it's easy for you guys to understand, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Alright guys, for this I'm going to use my Plankton base. I feel like this amp will allow me to show you guys the best. So I'm just going to go over a highlight where like the husks spawn. So one spawn I'm pretty sure is over there, and then the other spawn is over here, unless you have this amplifier, but in my case I don't. So those are the two husk spawns. Now in terms of trapping, First thing you want to do is block offs. So block offs, as it says in the name, is just like blocking off where they go. So some husks might want to come up here, so we just add some layers. So this is 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layer, right? You can add some extra ones, so like that. You know, like wall, like it's basically just blocking off where they might want to go, just so we can actually funnel them to where we want them to like actually go. So let's say we want them coming up this ramp, we'd leave this ramp open. I wouldn't want them coming up here, so I'd be blocking this off, just adding some layers. So they'd want to come straight up the ramp, then straight to the amplifier. That'd be the same for over here. So over here they'd be spawning, they'd come down this path and go straight to the amp. Just to make sure they don't come this way, we'd also do this, just block it off just so they don't go any other way. Now from there we can actually like start making our actual tunnel. So it's best to try to funnel them into like a tight space. So I'll do something like that that creates lots of layers, and it will mean the husks will follow this path, right? So if we go ahead, make it a box like this. Now when it comes to actually trapping your tunnel, the two major concepts is recycling and damage. So recycling means pushing the husks back through your tunnel. So the best way to recycle is if you got bends in your tunnel, to put down wall launchers. So what this will ultimately do is the husk will come here, the wall launcher will then push him back and push him back out of the tunnel, just so you can get the most out of your damage traps when we do place them. So this punch will push him back, this punch will also push him back, and if you have multiple together, it will act like a chain effect. So this one will push husk to here, and then it will push the husk back out. Now when it comes to damage, normally at the start you want to use good like damage traps, like not necessarily high damage, but just things that'll do like good overall damage. So normally at the start of your tunnels, gas traps are really good because they do damage, like it's like effect duration, so they damage the husks over time. And then on the walls, the best thing to use if you have walls like this right next to each other is broadsides, because they bounce off the walls, so you get the most out of them. For things like this, it would not be good to put a broadside on here, because the broadside would just go down here. It wouldn't actually be able to ricochet, so the best trap in this case would probably be wall darts, just so the wall darts can shoot down the tunnel and it's a lot of damage at once. So you'd put wall darts like that. Now throughout like the trap tunnel, the floor traps, they're slightly a bit more interesting. So when it comes to the recycle part here, it's probably better to have tar pits, just so they get stuck and then it can actually push them back. Whereas if it's just damage, you might just want to do wall spikes just to naturally slow them down. Towards the end of the tunnel you can also use freeze traps. So with freeze traps, it'll make the husks completely frozen and get the most out of your damage. So let's say along here I'd put more broadsides, just like that. Now right at the very end of your tunnel, this is where you want to have like your really high damage trap. So this is where you'd put your seal and electric field. So if anything does make it to the end of the tunnel, you can kill it with ease. This is one thing you guys absolutely do not want to do, is have your tunnels looking like this. I've seen so many people, especially new players, that don't understand how trap tunnels work, and then they make something like this, right? Things like this, they don't really help. This is just, it takes up a lot of structures and it doesn't really help your tunnel, because the husks, they'll only want to go straight for your amp, so they'll only really go through this. So all this, it's just a huge waste of traps, materials, and it doesn't really help you, if I'm being honest. Like, it's better to like learn how to make tunnels and then just doing block offs like this. Like, doing this and having them go down one way is just as effective, if not even more effective. So just doing that legit saves you so many traps, so many materials, and you know, it's not as hectic. Instead of having zombies all over the place, they only go through, you know, the one tunnel. So it makes your life a lot easier. So make sure you guys are definitely understanding how trap tunnels work, and you guys want to be doing this in your missions. Another thing I also want to touch on is if they're coming like diagonally. So in missions, they're not always going to be coming at you like straight on, so they're not always going to be a straight clear path. Sometimes they will be coming on a diagonal, so like let's say they're coming from over here. So I'm also going to show you guys how to do something diagonals. So once again, you'd want to be doing your block off, so something like this, and then you'd also probably do something like this, right? So this creates a block off, so all the husks, they'll want to funnel through here. So in terms of diagonal builds, you'd want to first find your diagonal, so it'd be something like this, and then from here you could make something like this. So this would be your recycling. You could put some of those there and a tar pit there. So this would be the recycling, so this would keep pushing them out of the tunnel, this would push them away, this would push them to here, this would push them out. And then from here, you could do this, so you could have damage, you could have broadside, sealing gas, and then right here you could also have it like that with this open, so they'd want to go to the objective this way, and then here you could also add extra recycling just like that. You'd also add the wall darts, and then since we have two walls here that they can ricochet back and forth, we'd put broadsides. Since we'd want them to get damaged here, we could do freeze just so they stay in place. We'd probably put gas. You always want to put gas at the start of your tunnels, because gas does damage over time, and that's really helpful. Since this is towards the end of the tunnel, we'd put electric fields, because this is where you want like a lot of your high damage to quickly kill. And then here, since we have wall launchers here trying to recycle, put some tar pits as well. So this would be roughly what a diagonal tunnel would be. You'd have recycling at the start here like this. You'd have sealing gas to deal damage over time. Broadsides here, this would deal a lot of damage. That's why we have the freeze here to freeze the husks here. Then here, even though it is at the end of the tunnel, we do have a perfect setup for recycling. So we have a punch here to send them back to this, and then we have a punch here to send them from here to here, back to here. So this is how you do a diagonal tunnel. Same with, make sure you guys are also doing like enough block off, so you guys might also have to do this, so like this counts as extra block off, because to a husk they need to break through this, then through this, and then this, and then this, like. So yeah, make sure you guys are adding enough block off so the husks will actually go into your tunnel. And then in your tunnel you want to make sure you have the two key things in mind: recycling and damage. Now for this tunnel, I'm gonna show you some different variations of trap tunnels. So like, you make them come up here. Another popular method that is used, so like, let me just add some block off here, just so the husks will go where we want them to, is called a timeout box. So the Parthen, they'll come up here, and they'll be trying to go to the amp in the quickest way, so from the spawn straight to the amp. So what you can do is along here, you can do wall punches. So wall punches, they don't only have to be used for recycling, like pushing them back through the tunnel, you can also make them get pushed to different areas. So this is what's referred to as a timeout box. Now in the timeout box, you can make it something like that. So, let me just add a wall there. Alright, so as the husks come up, and they eventually reach this point in the tunnel, it will push them into here. And a timeout box is essentially a kill box, so you just fill it with traps, so like, do wall darts like that. You'd probably do something like freeze or flame grill if you wanted to, so something like that. You'd also put really high damaging traps in here, just to make sure you kill them. And then something like tar pits as well, just to like, make them actually get stuck. So when the husk gets here, it'll push him into the timeout box, and the timeout box will kill him. Same with, you could also add some wall dynamos here for extra damage. So wall punches, they don't only have to be used for recycling, they can also be used to push husks into timeout boxes. Same with, if the tunnel is just straight like this, you can add recycling to it. You do just need to get a little bit more creative with it, so you can add something like this. Now what this will allow us to do is by putting down a floor launcher, when the husk gets to the floor launcher, it will launch it up, and then from the edited cone, you could also put a stair here. I just like the look of edited cones. It will push the husk back to here, so then they'll have to walk. If it's already reset by then, it will just launch them back. So even if the tunnel is straight, you guys can add recycling to it. The best tunnels are a good like combination of damage and recycle. Recycle just means you get the most out of your damage traps, so probably do something like this just to slow them down. Since it is a pretty straight tunnel with walls on either side, you could ricochet broadsides, so doing that would be a lot of damage. Same with here, you could put gas just so you have the damage over a long duration of time. Now up here you could still have like traps like Ceiling electric fields. They do go down 2 spaces. So that's basically the basics of trap tunnels. Just to recap, you got block offs, which is blocking the husks where they want to go, just so you can funnel them to your trap tunnels. And then within your trap tunnels, the 2 major concepts is recycling and damage. So this is like damage, you know, making sure you're actually killing the husks. This is probably referred to as damage just because you're pushing them into a timeout box. But actual recycling is things like this, so with the punch, making them go back through the tunnel to get the most out of your damaged traps. Same with here with the floor launcher, this is also recycling, just so you guys get the most out of your tunnels. So yeah, that's basically the basics of trap tunneling. If you guys have any questions, just leave it down in the comments below. I'll try to react to every single comment and help you guys out. If you guys would like to see any other videos, just leave down in the comments, let me know. If I didn't make anything like clear enough, just let me know and I can always revisit these kinds of videos to help you guys out. Besides that, I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video.